Hey everyone, welcome back to the amazing channel. I am Gillian. This is 𝑀sFitVegan, 10+ year raw vegan. She's a friend of mine. She's amazing. And today we're going to be talking about something we both get asked all the time. How do you stay raw while traveling? So this is a great little topic. Stick around to the end. It's going to be a good one. And let's hop right into it. Hey, Jeanette.
Hey, what's up?
What's up?
Okay, so let's do it because people always have these like excuses about they can't be raw on vacation or traveling or on the plane or on the train or on the bus or
automobile.
I feel like we're Dr.
No matter
Seuss.
where they're traveling.
Yes. Okay. So my number one tip is to prepare. You have to prepare for the inevitable, which is you're not going to find fruit and vegetables at like restaurants or like convenience stores. You've got to prepare. Prepare by bringing more than you think you'll need.
Yeah.
Okay. So I went on a road trip recently. Of course, along the way, it's possible that I might find a Whole Foods. I might stop at a place, but I wasn't sure if I was going to. So I prepared. I prepared a whole day and a half's worth of food, salad, fruit. I made a smoothie. I had a juice. I prepared and I brought way more. When I travel, I always make sure to buy and bring more than I need so that I am over prepared.
Me too.
You can't leave it to chance. That's why people are failing. They're leaving their health to chance. Don't do it.
No, and I think there's easy things to travel with. Like if you're going on a long road trip in the car, like for instance, a couple of months ago, my family and I drove to Florida from Toronto. I think it was 30+ hours, which is pretty crazy. But there's some easier things to bring in the car than not. Like bananas, you have to be more careful with them because, if you travel with bananas, they can get wrecked really easy.
Yes.
So grapes are easy. Grapes, walnuts, blueberries, things like that. There's easier things than not to travel with, right?
You make me want to eat walnuts. You mentioned walnuts a few times today. Wait, do you eat walnuts every day?
I don't eat them every day, but if I eat a nut, they're the nuts I go for because they're a great mood booster. They're high in omegas and they're a really good mood booster. And I noticed that if I eat walnuts, my mood increases. And there's so many studies about that.
Okay, so I used to make an ice cream with bananas, walnuts, and vanilla bean, and it was like amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do that soon because I haven't had walnuts in a while. Yeah, that's so true. There's fruits that go better on a traveling day. Okay.
Yeah, because you don't want a big mess either.
No.
You don't want it to look in your bag and be like, oh my gosh, this food went everywhere.
Have you done that?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So I've traveled. I used to travel for a living. I used to open up raw food restaurants across the country for a living. So I've traveled with being raw for the last 12 years, many, many times on a plane, on, buses and stuff. I made the mistake of bringing pears or bananas. Now, if I have a soft fruit, I will cut it up and put it in Tupperware, or I'll just put the whole fruit in Tupperware. So, for example, if you have persimmons or pears or bananas, put it in Tupperware so that it is going to not smush and get all messy and crazy, okay?
Yeah.
Be careful about that. Also with your Tupperware. Okay, so if you're cutting up watermelon or any type of fruit to put in the container, have a plastic bag. Have a plastic bag, tie it because it might open, it might leak. So tie it with a plastic bag. That's your fail safe, okay? I've had that issue before too. Have your own silverware, okay? And then make sure that you have more than you need. I cannot stress that enough. You will most likely have fruit left over when you get there, and that's a good thing. You're supposed to. You're not supposed to have the perfect amount because you might be hungrier, or like somebody in you're traveling with might be hungry.
Yeah.
Okay. Something might go bad. Something could happen. You might open a piece of fruit. Oh, this is a good tip. Okay. If you bring a melon, cut it up first. Try it. Because let me tell you, so many times I have brought fruit and I opened it where I was going when I got to my destination and it wasn't good. And then I was like, oh no, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Right. So I learned, open it first, cut it up, try it, and then bring it with you. All right. So that's another tip. When you're traveling, buy multiple options. So if you get to where you're going, buy multiple things you can eat because one thing might not be good. You might buy a mango. It's not good. It looks perfect. It's not good. But thank God you have a cantaloupe. Always buy something else because you cannot rely on just one type of fruit.
True. That's a great point. And you know what? This is what I usually do if I'm traveling like internationally. This time I didn't bring food with me. So this time I was like, you know what? I'm just going to see what I can get, which is different than usual. But this time I went to the airport, past the gate. There was a great smoothie place. So I had a big fresh smoothie. So I was good, right? And then I had one more just to make sure I was extra full because it was a 3-hour flight. Ended up being a 5-hour flight. And then when I landed, what I'll usually do is find a grocery store and go to the grocery store right away. If I have like an Airbnb or a hotel, I'll get all the food I want. I'll go back to the hotel. And if the hotel only has one fridge, you can ask for a second fridge. So that's, or like a bigger fridge.
I didn't know that.
And most times they can do it. Most times they'll bring you another fridge or a bigger fridge.
Oh my
So that's a
gosh.
good tip. And I just bring, if you're in like a hotel and you don't have the Airbnb kitchen, I get things that are easy, like apples, blueberries, and I'll get a knife usually from the grocery store, and because I still like to have a salad for dinner, or you can order salad from the hotel if they have like salad, and then customize with some of the stuff you have, like add avocado, add walnuts, like things like that. That's what I usually do. And I think like, but you know what? This time I didn't do that. I didn't stop at the grocery store. This time I've just been literally so swamped on this trip. I've been Uber Eatsing everything, which is
As
crazy.
a raw vegan.
Yeah, and it is expensive, but at least you can do it in this day and age, right?
Yes.
That's not what I usually do though. Usually I go to the grocery store, but it was kind of a crazy arrival, and I've just been Uber Eatsing like this. You made me, but it was a juice from a place in here before. But juices, smoothies, salads. So you can do it in this day and age like that too if you have to. Otherwise, go to the grocery store.
Yeah, I mean, the newbie will be like, oh, I can't do that. But you see, Gillian can do it, you know? Okay, yeah, I recently went to Texas. As soon as I landed, I did the same thing you just said. I went to Whole Foods. It was super late too. I had to go to one that was really far out of the way. But I had to do that because if I knew if I wasn't going to get my food then and there, I was going to be suffering. It was not going to be convenient for me. Another thing that you said was really good is buy fruit that doesn't need to be refrigerated. Okay, like you said, apples, oranges, bananas, all that kind of stuff doesn't need the fridge. I personally, when I travel, I don't request a fridge because I know I never really need it.
Yeah.
Melons, I don't need it. Grapes are nice to be in the fridge, but they don't have to. For the salads now, I always buy a big container. You know, those mixes of greens at Whole Foods or whatever, you know, the big containers. I always buy a few of those, and then if I have a fridge, and then I add in my own stuff, the avocado, cucumbers. I buy a knife too. I usually do if I'm staying somewhere.
Yeah, me too.
When I went to California, I was there for a month. Yeah, I bought a knife. You can find it for $2 at the grocery store.
Yeah, you know what? Speaking of the knife, when I went to New York in 2019, I was on a watermelon fast. And I was staying in Manhattan. I got this nice hotel. My friend had a discount there. And I was like, this is amazing. I'm not going to break my watermelon fast. I went to Whole Foods. I got some watermelons like whole. And I bought a knife there. And I was trying to open the package with my hand. I didn't have scissors. And the knife, I cut myself on the wrist. It just started gushing blood. It was the worst thing. I had to go to the doctor there. Oh my gosh. It was a disaster.
No.
I hit a nerve. But I survived. It's fine.
All right, maybe don't buy a knife.
Knock on wood. That's the only thing that's ever happened to me with the knives in the kitchen because I cut a lot of stuff. But no, it's still worth buying a knife.
Okay. If you don't want to cut a nerve and have blood gushing everywhere, then get pre-cut fruit because guess what? There's pre-cut fruit everywhere.
Yeah.
Now, it is going to be more expensive, but the upside is that you'll see if it's ripe. Okay, so now cantaloupe needs to be dark. Honeydew needs to be very light. And watermelon, of course, needs to be just right. Okay, it can't be too dark. It can't be too light. All right, and so you need to be aware of that and learn how to pick out your fruit. But having pre-cut fruit is very convenient sometimes. Pineapple, it needs to be dark, and that'll be great because sometimes, you know, you're in a rush. You don't have time to cut things. You don't want to go to the ER in the middle of New York. And yeah, pre-cut fruit is a great tip.
Yeah.
I would stay away from the packaged raw foods and the dried fruit.
Yeah.
It's not going to fill you up. It's going to make you dehydrate. Well, it will fill you up, but it'll make you dehydrated, and it's going to make you kind of bloated. And
yeah, and you can already get a lot of that when you're traveling. I notice when I'm sitting a lot, it throws off my digestion, even as a raw vegan. It's like, oh, I'm not going to the bathroom where I usually would have gone by now. And it's like, because so much sitting.
Yes.
So I think even more reason to eat clean and exercise. So this is a huge thing for me. Before I go on a plane or a long trip, I will be in the gym for like at least an hour of cardio because for me, then I just feel so much better when I'm sitting for all that time. And even in the hotel, we started an Airbnb this week, but it was a disaster. We had to switch to a hotel, but in the hotel, I've been working out for like an hour every night, and it just makes me feel so much better. I think that's so important, like before you get on a plane or while you're working out too. I think it's just as important as the food you eat.
Absolutely. Agreed. You can't live the life you want and have the energy you want and the body you want without working out. And they actually say that an hour of working out actually makes you more energized than an extra hour of sleep. Okay. So I would highly recommend you get into a workout routine that you like, that you can do, whether it's 10 minutes or an hour. Do something before you travel. It's going to really help you. Also, you know, the whole water thing when you go on a plane, it's not convenient, obviously, but drink as much as you can before you go. I always have green juice before I go on a plane, a lot. I always take it in the Uber or in the car to go, 64 ounces sometimes of green juice, and then I'll having water all morning because obviously you need to be hydrated before you travel.
Yeah.
It does mess with your digestion. And, you know, there's all this like stale air in the sky and stuff in the plains.
Yeah. And like do the best you can. Like some things might happen and that's okay. Like at the gym, I posted a selfie and I was drinking a water. It was the only water they had at the hotel. I didn't get to a grocery store and it was a Dasani water. And somebody was like, Gillian, Dasani water. Like, really? But I was like, it's all they had. So like just do the best you can too.
The people that nitpick and try to be perfect, they fail usually. And I was that raw vegan in the beginning. I was trying to be perfect, 100% organic, Gillian. I was 100% crazy. Like I wouldn't eat anything that wasn't, you know, raw or organic or like I was really trying to be perfect, spring water only, you know, and it didn't work out for me because I was limiting myself. I could never eat jackfruit. I couldn't find it organic. You know, I could never have a juice at a juice bar. It wasn't organic. And I was suffering and I was starving sometimes and I wasn't happy. Now I have, and I can see you have too. We found a way to make it work in the real world.
Yeah.
Which means you're not always going to have perfect. It might not be organic. You might have to drink Dasani, you know, and it's fine. Trust me, people are eating McDonald's. It's Dasani water is fine.
Just do what you can do. You know
do
what
you can do. Use what you have. And when you're traveling, it's not going to be perfect, but you're going to make it work. You're going to do the best you can.
And when you're traveling, I know we mentioned this in our other video when we touched briefly on something, but when you travel within the U.S., pretty much you're allowed to bring whatever food you want on the plane. Is that correct or no? Like if you wanted to bring some cut up mangoes or like avocado, like because it's different for me, Canada, traveling to the U.S. And I always find it very confusing. So like I would call the airline if I was someone wanting to know, right? Like maybe call your airline, see what the rules are if you feel like it's really important to travel with food on the plane, or just work out, eat a big meal, get a smoothie at the airport, and don't stress about bringing stuff on the plane. I think depending on the flight time, you can probably handle not eating for that period of time too, right?
Yes, when I travel, so I personally haven't traveled yet internationally.
Ever?
I know.
You've never been to Toronto?
No.
I'm going to have to fly you there. You should come. Wow.
Guess what? This year I'm going to Thailand though. My first international flight. Probably I'm going to have to call the airline because I have no idea internationally.
How far is the flight to
It's
Thailand?
like 15 hours.
So yeah, you'll need to eat on there.
Yeah. But okay, so when I go and I travel throughout the United States on a plane, I've never had a problem ever except I tried to bring a dressing and they wouldn't let me.
Liquid,
so
right?
now I mix the dressing into the salad if I want to do that, okay? So cut up fruit is fine. Whole fruit is fine. You can't bring a knife, so don't do that, okay? But I've never had a problem. And my carry-on, Gillian, is always fruit. I always bring a big carry-on and I have a little pouch for, you know, my passport and my keys and stuff like that, like a fanny pack. But I always have my big carry-on is always food, always fruit. Sometimes I'll make a whole day's worth of food, you know, fruit, meals, and then a big salad. But of course you can't bring liquid. You can freeze your liquid. So if you want to make your smoothie and your water and freeze it first, you can bring frozen liquid.
You can?
Yes,
Wow.
you can. You can bring so you have to have the Dasani. You can bring your frozen liquid on the plane. But
no offense to Dasani.
I know.
I don't like to knock anybody. So
yeah, they're gonna kill us.
Yeah.
But I usually don't do that though. It's like I don't like freezing cold water, so I'll just buy the water in the airport. That's fine. And I've never had a problem ever. Of course, they do take your bag and they put it through the scanner. And people, you know, sometimes people unpack my bag because they, you know, it sets off alarms.
They're probably like,
it's a whole thing.
They have computers and cell phones and shoes and other ones, and then they see yours
Yeah.
and it's like
It's a
dragon
whole-
fruit, jackfruit. They're probably like, what is going on
It's a
here?
whole thing when I go to the airport, but it's fine. I mean, it is a small price to pay for having, you know, the food you want to eat on the plane.
It's worth it. You got to prioritize yourself, right? And how you eat. You got to want to feel good when you're traveling.
Exactly.
You don't want to feel crappy when you're traveling. You want to feel energized, amazing. So it's even more reason to eat raw and not eat stuff that weighs you down.
And I'll be on the plane with a big tub of seeded watermelon or like oranges, and people will be like, wow, how did you get that at the airport? And I always tell them, I'm like, oh, I brought it. They're like, you can do that? You can bring nobody knows that you can bring fruit into the airport on the plane. And I'm always eating exactly what I want in the sky, you know, wherever I want, sitting in the sky, in a chair in the sky, eating what I want. And people are like, oh, so hungry, or they have to eat that crappy airplane food, you know? And so...
like, what would you even eat on an airplane food if you were stuck on an airplane for 24 hours and you had to eat? I would fast. Me too.
Now, I actually won't even wash my hands in the bathroom because I found out that the water is like really gross in the bathroom.
Really?
Yeah. Don't look into it if you want to keep washing your hands, but I wouldn't even recommend you use the water to wash your hands.
They should just have sanitizer in there then for people who want to do that.
It's really gross. Everything in the airplane, the water, the coffee, everything is gross.
Yeah, I have a friend who's a food. No, like I was on there the other day and I see the food and the sandwiches and their little catalogs and I'm just like, oh my gosh, it doesn't even look like food to me anymore after eating this way for so long.
Yeah, I have a friend who's a flight attendant. Don't eat anything on a plane. Don't drink anything on a plane. It's gross. Bring your own stuff, guys. It's gross.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah. And you know what? People ask me all the time if I travel with my juicer. I don't know if you do, but I don't. Like, because I have to travel with it. I'm going to California next month. This might or might not be up by this will be up then probably, but and I don't know. I'm going to have to package it very carefully, like protect it. I'm going for 2 weeks. But that's my main reason. I don't want to break it. I treasure my juicer. I love it. I'll link the one I use down below, but I don't travel with it. If I'm traveling to like a hotel that's a few hours from my house in my car and I want to bring it, then I'll bring it if I want to juice fast or something. But otherwise, I don't. I get like usually like these to go when I'm
You can find juice everywhere.
Yeah.
It's really not a big deal. I have never traveled with my blender, but I know you definitely can't bring the blade on a plane. So if you want to bring your blender, you have to take the blade out. Okay.
Even if it's going under the plane, you mean on the carry-on, right?
Oh, carry-on.
But if you were to package it for under, my only thing is with under, you see them like throwing the suitcases around. I'm scared to put my stuff in there like that.
I would never put anything valuable.
Do they have a fragile department on the plane? Like that you can say, label it fragile? I don't know. Let us know below.
That's a good question.
And let us know down below your guys' tips for traveling, staying raw, and like your experience with that.
Yes. And so, yeah, that good point. If you're traveling with your car, bring your blender or your juicer. Do it. Do it. I have people that like ask me how to be raw during the holidays. If they're going to their family's house, it will be so much easier if you have your blender. You can make your ice cream, your dressings. Make it easy for yourself. You know, buy a little blender if you have to, a travel one. They have USB ones that are $20. You know, you can make it easy for yourself. But it's much easier than you think, but you just got to get creative. Like Gillian said, she's Uber eating and she's eating raw. Yeah,
that's what the whole time I've done.
And we're drinking green juice and, you know, we're living our life and you can always find fruit.
Yeah,
it's
true.
It's like, unless you're going to like a food desert, okay, and then you have to prepare. But like if you're going to a city, you're going to find a fruit store.
Yeah, you are going to find a fruit store.
I remember when I went to Puerto Rico a few years ago for New Year's, nothing was open. We finally found nothing except like fast food places. So I was like starving. I finally found a grocery store and the only fruit that was good was frozen fruit. So I bought some frozen fruit, I defrosted it, and that's what I had. You know, I literally couldn't find any fresh fruit or any like salads or anything. But, you know, I made it work. And then the next day, everything was open again. So that was fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, this has been great. Do you think there's anything we've missed with traveling? I'm trying to think. I don't.
I recently bought a travel water pick. I have no idea what this has to do with being raw.
That is another level.
I don't know what this has to do with being raw, but I really take care of my teeth now. No, it's good because raw, you have to take care of your teeth.
Yeah.
And I used to travel with this giant water pick. Now I have this really cute one that folds up and it's a travel one. So you guys should check that out. I think we're good. Oh, floss. You want to have floss on you if you're traveling because you know you're eating fruit. It's going to get in your teeth.
True.
Have the travel thing of floss. And then your own utensils are really helpful. And yeah.
Okay.
Well,
this was amazing. Yeah.
This was good.
It was great. And
we're going to travel.
Yeah, we're going to travel.
Let's go.
Yeah, you got to come to Toronto too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And I'm going to come back here with the videographer. We're going to just show you guys all sorts of stuff. Restaurants, colonics, you name it. We've got it going on.
We're going to do a live colonic, guys.
Yeah. So this has been great. We love having Jeanette on. She's a regular on this channel. Go follow her. She's amazing. She's one of my favorite raw vegans, one of my favorite friends. And subscribe if you don't already. I'll link everything we talked about down below. Love you guys. See you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.